once ever. When it comes to KO, he has never played it before. So that's going to be the sort of bigger focus for me, because I think everything else I can get behind. Chronicles, Ray's absolutely fine. Shados has played Breach before. But yeah, this is the big one. How is his KO going to be?
Oh, we shall find out. As I'm not really sure how to feel about these big changes with it being Guild's map. I'm on the fence. Did Mech come in today with this idea, knowing that this was a likelihood they'd play the map if they'd been experimenting with this? And is this now just a surprise comp that can throw their opponents off whenever they ended up here next? Or is this a last-ditch attempt to make something work after previous map? I'm not too sure, but we'll find out as time goes on. Smoke down behind, a little bit of a challenge for Mech. They're going to sit around and try to actually catch these players. They're faking out of drop right now, Tom, making a ton of noise, letting these players know, like, hey, we're around dish, we're executing A now, hoping that they would catch the flank, but they haven't. Patient Guild now reaps the rewards with a quick kill, and Trax is still just sat on the side.
The spike is in a horrible position. It just has to be an all-out brawl, and again, it seems to swing back, but Trex still within the site, still causing them issues, leaving it on to him versus Nats, at least for now, but there is still safe. Slowly rotating. Actually, Nats is going to be able to get out of there, completely reposition, and could make his way back towards B.
He tagged him on the through the box there, I'm pretty sure. Nats down to 57 HP on that rotate. It's to set up some of his utility on the way at least.
10 seconds left.
You have the chance to. Now the plant comes through. They box him in. Figure out where he is thanks to that early rotation from Safe. What a shot from Nats! One bullet in the headhunter still. He's gonna have the ghost to work with, but Trax catches him through the wall. 4 kills from this man, and he did a remarkable job of staying alive on that A site. Now, certainly because he had so many teammates there to really fan the flames and provide some cover and some crossfire, it definitely helped. But the fact that he was able to stay alive and choose his fights so well that they at no point on their A push dealt with the A player, that was fantastic.
Yeah, I think the one thing I don't really like about this round for Mech is the fact that you still have Defo working as the player trying to find you entries, while also having the spike. Like, he basically pop flashed himself through a smoke. He was completely in, and the rest of the team is still just chilling in the smoke. It's like, that's not a good plan. Like, especially when it's your KO going first. Most of the time, you're going to have Chronicle blast packing his way to the top of site, then you have that flash, and then there's a lot more you can do with it. Instead, it just seemed like maybe there was some miscommunication there, because I don't know why he would go in with the spike alone off his own flash.
It's been strange. I think that when you look at the playstyle that Mech bring to the table, typically this map, and certainly this composition as well, it challenges them in a very different way to what we're normally seeing from these guys. It puts different strengths to the test, and so far, a couple of issues, but it was only the pistol. This can always be a little bit more chaotic there. Great opening for Chronicle. Only the one, and the others being peppered down, but in a round like this, you don't expect them to pack that much of a punch typically, and they're doing a damn good job, even recovering some weapons and getting a plant.
Yeah. They've got one of the only rifles that's currently in play. The other is on Trex, of course, with the amount of kills he got, but Defo can definitely pack a punch. Well, Nats seems to be having a pretty good time with the headhunter. We've always liked his sheriff play. I guess it makes sense that this gun works in his hands. Even still, though, a 2 versus 3. Coldamenta trying to clear some of the closer angles. Ultimately, there's no one on the site, and the plant is not a particularly good one.
Well, blast back up for Heaven to try and punish them if they run on out, but Nats has made it all the way around. Walked up and took Coldamenta down mid-defuse.
If he misses that shot, that first shot, they lose.
Yep, 100%. But
stakes were high. They were high. Thank you. Because look how close this was. Like, that's too tight for me. If somehow there's someone there to kill Nats, they've lost that round. But I guess for Mech, huge victory. They've now managed to retrieve a rifle, retrieve 2 rifles, I think. Buy up a couple more of their own, and now invest. And they've got Tour de Force, because Nats is able to basically just kill people with the headhunter.
Yep. This is now a very scary scenario for Guild. They start out with a pistol round victory and end up, well, they're going to be farmed in this round. They've got nothing to fight back with, essentially. That nade from Trex is probably going to be the biggest damage. All right, it's just classic headshot now. So that'll do something for you. Little rifle to be retrieved, south side cover, and the players that are about to push side have to come out of drop. We'll see the downside here being that you don't really have anything to deal with that. You've no judge down below or anything nasty. Dave's gotten into position at least. Oh, he's not gonna get it.
Okay.
Whew.
They are very lucky that he whiffed there. Because the fact that nobody checks main, that is... again, it just seems like there's some moments right now from Mech which are shaky. The pistol round strat just seemed a little bit off. This time they actually do exactly what I was sort of mentioning, with like Chronicle taking the space, which is exactly his role within the side. It's just because he's that superstar. I think that things get a little bit lost sometimes. But anybody, like you watch Screenplay, you watch anybody on the Rays, that's the role within the team. Now, obviously, a couple of ults here. Nat's going to be using the Tour de Force. You've also got the Rolling Thunder. But on the other side, I'm looking at that Showstopper and potential opportunity for a res.
Yeah, well, I mean, not only that, you've got the Orbital Strike for Cold Amanda potentially post-plant with a kill and a plant or any of the many orbs that are floating around. This is going to be a very ult-heavy game off of the comms running alone off the map that it is. But with Nat's popping off the way that he is, I think he's the focal point to start. If he can hit some shots the way he has been with this Tour de Force, it could be something scary. Not something we're used to seeing in his hands, this scoped weapon, and certainly not the early contact that he just attempted. But the stuns pushed him back, and this sort of pushes Mech towards the B site. Still, though, plenty of time on that clock, and they haven't conceded too much control that they have to be worried. That trap on north side giving them a ton of control.
Already, we're going to see that Rolling Thunder utilized. Not a great amount they can actually do to sort of execute onto this, although they do manage to catch out Russ with the breaking of the wall. Gives them that opener, gives them that push in towards the site, and more importantly, gives them an afterplan.
With that one locked down now, Nats is set out to look for some kills. The smoke will fade soon, and he'll have the range to play on. The TP back as well, so a little bit of extra security. Smoked off again. He kind of wants to get aggressive here with the position that his traps are in. They'll wait for them to go to the site, to his teammates, sort of fighting them as well. That's a great stun. Trax is able to drop Red Guard. They've made their way onto the site. They're dropping Defo and now starting to defuse, at least tapping it, baiting Nats into thinking that they're on it. Potentially giving them... Oh no! Kill from... What's happening? Cold Amanda went down to Trex's nade.
What just... Like, I'll be honest with you. I don't think it made much of a difference. Like, there was no way they were going to stick that through with Nats there anyway and an open plant, but that's definitely gone a little bit wrong for Trax.
I'm nading the bomb. Wait.
I'm going to stop them from defusing.
Oh, no.
So then he runs in. Where does the nade come from? I don't even know where that was supposed to be going.
Yeah.
Did he bank that out of
from heaven? It looks like.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Why would you do that? Why would you do that? There's some piece of information we're not privy to. Maybe the nade was thrown a little bit earlier before Cold jumped on it. But that would stop you from winning the round.
Yeah.
So I'm really confused. But okay. Right.
Can we add that to the pape shell tally?
How many nade kills did Trex get on teammates? One. Look, he's had a great game so far. Normally his utility, you know, a Cypher, it's not going to be killing teammates, so it's acceptable.
The thing I will say is, even in the 4 versus 5 there, they didn't decide to use the Showstopper at any point, which I would say was definitely intriguing to me, because not only does it force players out of position, but a lot of the time it's going to give you a free kill, and especially towards those stairs, I do think there would have been quite a bit of value, so I want to see what that was saved for, especially in a round like this. Like, I feel like Trex could have already earned up a second one by the time he sort of utilized the first.
30 seconds left.
That's a great flash. Gilder pushed completely back. Orbital Strike made everything thrown into that, and they'll even get shade out for the troubles. Look, good start for Guild. Nasty fight to take with the Sheriff, and now
it's still down.
There's 10 seconds left?
Yeah, they haven't gone back for it. Like, they just completely forgot about it. This round is already over. Like, they just don't have the time to actually get back onto the site anymore. They've got to kill everyone. This is a huge blunder from Mech. Okay, the nade kill might have been funny, but yeah, they've just won, or they've just lost the round by forgetting the spike.
I'm questioning my grasp on reality.
Like
at this
someone
point.
was killed with it, but like I guess they must have just got lost in everything that was going on because yeah, somebody died back with the spike early, and I guess it just was never communicated across properly that they had to go back and get it.
I think that they committed a bunch of utility to trying to get into heaven, and if they leave it completely, they'll end up like having the spike, but no ability to plant, and pistols retaking the space. If they go, I guess there's reasons in the moment you can get caught up, but again, it comes back to something we said last map, which was that snarky comment, Tom, of Mech. Oh, they actually have time on the clock for once, and that's what we mean. You know, sometimes when you play it down to the wire, those sort of things can happen. One stray bullet catches your spike carrier, you're so caught up in trying to take space because you've got no time left that, well, you don't have time to go get the spike afterwards when you've eventually got the site. Now you're running into this round versus rifles, Showstopper, Rolling Thunder, Rez, Tour de Force one away. There's a whole lot in play for Guild. They're sitting back, they're waiting, and I think there's no surprise there, Tom, because at this point, aside from just holding aggressive angles, there's no need for them to make any sort of a mistake, any sort of an over-aggressive play when they have so many safety nets to work with, and Trex is right up in A main. On the other side of the smoke, this is absolutely crazy, and he's gonna get a reward for it!
Oh, point blank shot. 35 seconds left. Spike isolated now, away from the rest of the team. Somebody else needs to make a move. It looks like Nats is going to do it. He just walked straight through the smoke. Nobody watching for it. Coldamenta there for the trade, but that's allowed that escape. That switch up on towards the site. That little bit of space garnered is enough for Shados to get it down. He is screwed because Safe is going to manage to isolate him with the help from a Molotov, but now Redgar comes in from the backlines.
Mech are doing a great job of utilizing all the angles, all the avenues of approach. Redgar's left with the only one now. Probably should be a 2v1, but in their favor, Redgar's going to try to pull this one across the line, but it's Leo tucked in that corner. An unexpected angle that gets them the win. The round secure, defuse to come through soon, and an operator saved as well. They're going to stack up that defuse on Leo, not least because he's close to his ult, but the man's just is likely to have it online soon with the amount of frags being coming his way.
Yeah, the solid res. I feel like Defo's going to be absolutely kicking himself with that one. That might have been the freest kill of the day so far. Like a man facing the other way with a Spectre. But yeah, I feel like both teams actually did quite well to adapt to a fairly horrible position. Again, we see just how well Guild managed to combo off of Coldamenta's utility. I think that's something that we saw incredibly in the first map, but the fact that he's still able to just call, I guess, precisely exactly what's going to happen. Okay, I'm going to molly here, you're going to watch this side, I'm going to watch the other side, and that player is screwed.
Oh, this is a much faster attempt out of Mech. They're looking to up the ante straight in towards this A side as the pace is taken to 100. Leo picking off the first, and now damage being done across the board. No one's going to be able to pick KO back up. Nats down to 6 HP, being dove on, and well, Leo with an ambitious play there from the top rope takes it across the line. That is 4 on the board for Guild, and it looks like they're able to thrive even in these chaotic moments. The very well-rounded face of Guild being shown right now.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with how well they're able to delay. Like, even if it's just off a single stun, that was enough to basically pull, I think, what, 4, almost 5 players were within this site by the time the push actually came in. Like, you're not going to win that round. And they've also just managed to slow anybody attempting to come through from drop. So it just makes things quite a bit easier. And it's definitely something that I think Mech could look to work around, like almost try and bait them into some of these rotations a little bit earlier on, because I said all 5 players were in, but I felt like that was such a committed push from Mech that, well, I think they knew they'd make it obvious. I don't think they expected to be delayed as much.
Well, a ton of noise being made up towards the heaven here, but it's all a bait. Guild now stacking up a 3rd player around Arcade. They really want to fight that area, but well, it looks like we've got Mech coming through main, waiting for the wall to break, and now they're blitzing on through. The nade is good. It clears a lot of space for them, but standing on the edge of that nade was Russ. He did a lot of damage. He stopped Chronicle from getting in at the start, along with some breach utility, but Chronicle 5 HP to his name, and he's picked up another kill. Trex coming in with the tour de force. Sorry, the showstopper. At last, it's the tour de force on safe that won't even get used, as he is dropped right away.
Okay, big round from Chronicle. Again, I feel like a lot of the utility thrown in by Leo does well to actually delay the push, even using the Aftershock to get him down to 5 HP, but then Chronicle just decided it was a Chronicle round and just domed everybody that was in his way. Quite a bit invested there as well by the defensive side, so financially they're going to be in a little bit of an awkward position. It looks like both sides currently have the Tour de Force available to them, so not going to be too much of a detriment for them at this point, but if Mech can win this next round, well, they could really put Guild in the bin.
And they need to at this point. Look at this aggression out of Trex. Those steps have been heard, and Nats knows there's at least one close. I don't know if he'll expect the second to be here. That jump peek, it's perfect for the player on the door, but Nats being close, it got the jump on Trex. That's a huge kill. The rounds that he's been having so far. The damage done to Defo, it might tilt things into Guild's favor. We'll have to see when this push comes through as they start to move their way towards the B side over on Mech. All 4 players here. Just looking down at that utility belt, they still have so much to work with on the way back through. They've got to break that wall now. That just gives away their intentions.
Even if they do go rotating back, just breaking it's important enough just so that they don't know that that side of the map's actually locked off. And you can see again, Rush just patiently waiting to try and throw in those extra few pieces of utility. It does seem like they're lining up the 0 point to maybe try and take some of that away. Again, the value of removing that slow would be huge. And well, now we're seeing that smoke go through. Question is it going to land? And by the looks of it, it will.
Oh, Russ is just being bombarded with utility. He's being forced into the corner, but with Safe actually baiting out a little bit here, and he's catching kill after kill. It was a wall bang onto Shados, and I think a Kalat at the same time. Damage, not the kill, but you know, every little helps. 10 seconds left. Spike in the open. This one is done and dusted. Redgar out here looking for some more damage, and it's about all he could hope for. Just a 1 kill as Guild clock up a 5th round. Mech won't be breaking them anytime soon. And they've now got a bunch of ultimates online. Still those safety nets of your Rolling Thunder and your Orbital Strike coming into this round. If anything kind of gets a little bit spooky.
I guess the same result was there for Mech as well, because now financially they're in the bin. Still got the Tour de Force for Nats, who he's actually done very well on the lurks. The only thing I will say is that I feel like if Nats has got a kill somewhere on the map, Guild don't rotate. Like they've just not, they've been so reliant on the fact that the team hasn't then come back to push where Nats has actually been finding his frags, that the value of sort of pulling players off hasn't really been there. Again, we're going to see this early wall, but a much faster take in towards Dish, just to try and get some extra orbs here and there. Of course, Rolling Thunder quite far away at this point, but with Tour de Force, maybe something can be done.
Oh, it's going to be a waiting game. The very slow rotations of Mecha Team we've spoken about before, being content with running that clock down. Well, when they've got pistols, I think even more so, the patience is underlined. The longer they wait, the more likely it is that someone ends up making a mistake. But now that you've heard that Tour de Force ring out in the distance, find nothing, the pistols have to move forward. Russ has spotted them as well, and you're really starting to get the idea that this is about to be a B play. Russ has to step it up, though. That Tour de Force caught right away. Good reposition out of Heaven. He'll even get caught by that knife and then move down. So sort of baiting them into thinking he's around here. He's close on sight, so they're using a lot of utility. That was really smart. I think he intentionally still got hit by that knife, so they have to use util to clear Heaven.
Redcar getting spammed so desperately low, and while Defo at least finding one, a second as well. And now it's left all onto Chronicle. Not much in the belt to get anything done here. Okay, they make it a little bit costly. Of course, the Guild economy is nothing crazy at this point, but we're getting towards the end of the half, and, well, I don't think they want to allow Guild to get towards 8.
I think that was a masterful display from Russ. Everything that he did in that moment, his pathing was perfect. He avoided overcommitting. He grabbed the information, and Heaven falls out. gets tagged by the knife. Then you see that Mech have to use up flashes. They're using boom bots. They're using everything to get around that angle and push him out of heaven. But he's already out of heaven. He's crossed over to fight with his teammate on site. And the thing about that for Guild, they identify they're being pushed from so many angles. And at each stage, they go, okay, let's slow this one and fight the other one. Now let's slow this one by like showing that we're still in heaven. And together we'll fight the other angle of it. It was perfect. They didn't get overwhelmed. And now, safe. It's just so good dealing with the showstopper. And even if he doesn't get the kill, it's probably fired at him. And he's right out of there. So no space taken for Mech. And in fact, they end up with a man disadvantage.
Chance for Nats as well. Solo pushing into the site. They are prepared for anything at this stage. And again, you can see the Spike almost completely isolated, desperately trying to push out Trex. But the fact is, he's more than happy to just sit back within this site. They're going to have to try and cross through. The flash is there, but it's actually going to be the drop from Trex. He's just doing fantastically well at the back of the site. It almost seems like the best strategy at the moment is to just avoid him.
Enemy remaining.
Redgar, last man standing, 45 seconds. He has the spike, but he's trapped in. Look at where Russ is.
It's a nasty spot. There's a decent chance Redgar clears it. Not got much else to do on the way through, but yeah. Oh no!
Yeah. Oh!
Being hacked to pieces, man.
That's the grin as well. The exact same grin as in the picture. That's the grin. Maybe a little bit of sweat after he turned around, but mostly the grin.
The first swing, a little miss. Yeah, I was looking through. I spoke earlier about how obviously Leo had been to the very first Masters way back, the regional one. And I'm only thinking, you know, Cole Dementa, if they win this game now, if they win just this map, that's going to be his third Masters with 3 different teams. Each time he's been there with Ascend, he was there with G2 on the international stage, and now he'd be pushing there for a second international appearance on another team, and well, getting there before his old team. I'm sure that feels sweet.
Yeah, maybe there's something about keeping good in-game leaders.
No, that doesn't make any sense, Tom.
Okay, sorry. I know sometimes I go a little bit out of the box, but
yeah, I think you've just fully lost your mind, to be honest.
All right. Ooh, okay, Shados. Might be something about this man stepping up to the plate that changes things a little. Spike will be retrieved by Defo, and there's a fair amount of space. They've still got to try and walk into this operator, though, and it's been so difficult for them to deal with. Safe has been landing shot after shot. Well, it seems like a bit of a jump scare for either side. They still have the orbital strike, though, and more importantly, they have the spike as well.
Last player standing.
Had the spike as well.
Had, yep. That's now safely back to Meg, planting it down. Here's the orbital strike, though. Find him a little bit of extra time. This is an ambitious play by Cole Dementa. Last round, though. Why not? You got to chuck it in. No utility left. He might be able to drop down there. Yeah, but the jump, it gave him away on the way through. He needed just that one extra smoke, and sadly didn't happen.
When they're in this sort of form, like, I don't think we can sit here and say that Mech are playing bad as they did in some of the more earlier stages. They're putting up a fight all the way through, but Guild are playing an excellent game.
They absolutely are. The first map was fantastic. That's Mech's pick. Now they've made changes. They're on defensive side of a map like Fracture with, you know, trialing out a lot of these agents for what is the first time for the players. There are a lot of things that can go wrong here for Mech. So that's where my worry comes from. But at the same time, I haven't seen what this comp has to offer, and I somehow always believe in these guys. I like the bait, but they're ready for it. Guild are checking it on the way around. Fair play to Russ for still being conscious of that angle.
Oh, he's gone into rat mode. Just going to be sitting up the top. It seems like they might actually just opt to avoid him. Safe is going to be pushing. Well, yeah, you kind of got what you deserve there, I'll be honest. They're going to get onto the site, though. The thing is, they need to clear it, and Leo just spams into the smoke. Madness as always, but that might have just won them the pistol. Obviously, Trek still stepping up when needed. Cole Dementa trading, and now Shados left with his pistol, a few pieces of utility, one already expended, and a crossfire that I'll be honest, I don't know how you get through this.
I don't think you do. There's way too much time. Even if they stagger one at a time, they've won it on the peak for the spike. If you run down to clear them early, well, they are going to kill you in that crossfire. This is a lost situation. Shados just doesn't know it yet. And now that message has been well and truly delivered. 8-5. Pistol round win for Guild as they step closer to securing their spot in Copenhagen. this half needed to get off to a good start for Mech to have a chance. Now I'm very worried if they lose out on, well, let's say the upcoming buy round. Somehow I believe in their force.
I love the idea that I'm pretty sure Mel has shown that sign now multiple times. It took me a while to realize that it says on it, I think, less talking, more doing. It's this like basically telling us to shut up, Mel? Is that what's going on here? Because that's what it sounds like.
Yeah, I guess that's what it is. You know what, Mel? Take it away. Oh, it's somehow better.
Oh no way. Somehow they always seem to do damage in these sort of rounds. Trex, of course, having a shotgun on the attack is something I don't think you're going to see too often. Trap destroyed, but obviously the information is given over, and you can see Safe has already turned back around. The thing is, though, this flank's coming in relatively quick. A free judge even to be had for Chronicle to play with, but, well, one of their teammates has already been dealt with.
Headhunter out of the round, but they might be here a little bit earlier than is necessarily expected. That's not going to be true, though. The stun's been seen, and you've already seen Trex come out of the site. The fact that they've chosen to play the other side. Oh, it's a Trex nade. Gone down onto the site, and it's not going to find anyone. As they look to move on and get the defuse, they have a lot to play against. A nade on the side of Trex, and he knows exactly how to get that on the spike. And then, of course, the molly making its way over, and that's just going to secure it for that little bit longer.
I am not feeling the sun.
And 9-5. Guild have set themselves up for victory. They've been here many a time, attempting to make their way through. I think LCQ is the one that we probably remember, just almost getting through at that final spot. Not even to go to Masters, but to skip straight their way through to Champions. But an international LAN has always been the goal, and a big goal for this squad. They took some risks. Like, let's be honest, the last team wasn't a poor one. It was still one that could compete at the highest level, get to playoffs in most occasions. I think in all of them, in fact. But they wanted more. This team has definitely done that, but they're nowhere near the finish line just yet. Mech, with their first purchase in, will this be the turnaround, or could this be the yellow brick road all the way to Copenhagen?
Well, the site has been seized by Mech. Things were looking good for that Copenhagen road to be taken, but Nat steps up. He takes a kill right off the bat. They bait Safe into further aggression and catch him. Defo's even going to secure his top with a little nade. Is he going up there afterwards? Looks like he's just waiting for a move to be made.
Don't do it.
I'm hoping he doesn't touch that rope.
Definitely don't do it now. Well, he knows that there's a judge up top. Nat's actually incredibly low as well, so even a bullet could take him down. Definitely a bullet from a judge, and the nade might even do it instead, but they've already defused it all of the way. Just a little bit too slow to react, and well, eventually they are going to clear out the remaining players. A plant, 2 kills. It's probably about right, what you'd expect from a bonus round, but I think from that position, Guild would have hoped for more.
Yeah, after that kill in heaven, I expect the nade to go down as soon as that spike is tapped, but I almost feel like Trex had a bit of PTSD. They're like, yo, Trex, nade the site. And he's like, wait, are you sure? Hey, where are you guys? Cold, where are you long? You're long. Okay, I went out that little bit too late. 9-6, we've ended up, and oh, look, Mech have a lifeline, but it doesn't get easy. You know, they come right back into a buy round up against Guild. That showstopper still in the back pocket for Trex. Over on that Mech side, they've got to be very careful starting out this round. There's a whole lot of pitfalls they could fall into.
Already falling back into more default positions. I am just looking at how deep Redgar is actually pushed, though. He's actually playing around the trap. Again, this is something that he seems to do quite regularly, just in case it can be bypassed. But it does seem like they're going to start building up into an A-take. Now, the rotation's already coming back through from Defo, so they could have information very quickly indeed. I'm sure that 0 point is not going to be too far away.
I mean, there's still 50 seconds on the clock, so Guild don't have to make a decision just yet.
Is Nats under? Yeah, he was. He pushed all the way around, and now he has the info for them instead. They had so much map control that Guild didn't really manage to force them out of. Paranoia are even going to push them back once again, and now they're going to go rotating. But look at where 2 of these players are for Mech. They are so ready for this.
Yeah, good control by Mech over on B. You know, Nats is calling for the retake instead of playing the site control, so they don't actually rotate. So the site still stacked up on Showstopper through, not getting the damage, and Chronicle's able to follow up. 12 seconds, and now all of Mech are coming through these doors, looking to fight on site, but they're losing, Tom. They've lost every fight, and here comes the plant. Another kill in Guild's favor, and it's falling apart for Mech. Nats is the last man alive. They had the read, the rotate, the stack, even at the time on their side, Tom, but not a single kill on the way through. Far tracks after the Showstopper. That's an absolute disaster.
Yeah, they had everything in place. Like even Chronicle managing to get the first kill, avoiding that ultimate, and then from then on, it was just absolute slaughter, and it would continue that way. Russ is having one hell of a game for Guild, and at the perfect moment. As we sort of mentioned, they have been, I almost want to call them a squad of chokers up until this point, like a team that probably should have made it to an event, but we never quite believed.
Every Guild
I think the new pickups that they have right now, I think that new blood might be making the difference.
Since M1 2020, we just ended up in this position of like consistent drops over on Guild side, where they would get so close. 2021, they would get so close and one, maybe 2 games away from qualifying every time, and we'd always be like, oh, this could be the Guild, and it never was. But finally they found the solution. As you said, Leo, he's been through it all. Way back in the Bonk days, Safe was on this roster, failed out before Guild, comes back in, and they get reunited, and then build this gem over so many months of just grueling work, heartache, and disappointment. You know, just 3 rounds stand between them and victory in the first is versus a very weak buy, but all those elements for Mech that can make it work. So far, though, they're being given no opportunities.
Oh, the flash could be everything. The point of contact, this has to be something they clear if they're going to go in this direction, but it almost seems like they're almost just taking their time, waiting for somebody on the Mech side to make a move. Quickly going to start their rotation back towards the ace out. Now, again, this is aggressed by Shados. He does actually have a Rolling Thunder, but he might just get spammed through, and it's whether or not he actually wants to use it. Safe is even going to hard clear one of the close angles, and now the Rolling Thunder does come through for that pressure, but all they've managed to do is isolate one player. All the rest make a move through Dish. Nats with the tour de force gets nothing, but Redgar has gone huge on the back of site. He has Defo to support him, and it's left all onto Trex. He has to try and stick this, and I think they expect this to be bait. Why wouldn't they? It was a risky plant to go for in the open, but he gets it down.
Dropped, but it's been heard. Shados goes for the swing and gets it. Mech will hold on that little bit longer, and they do it with the weaker weapons. An impressive round out of them. And I love the decision-making of Shados. Up in Dish, spots practically their whole team. And the easy solution after putting down the stun is I'm gonna drop the site, Rolling Thunder, buy time for my team. But that doesn't solve the problem, which is that you are still being split. They still have players drop, they still have players main. So what do? They say, screw Dish, I've stunned them. They're a few seconds late. Let's Rolling Thunder main, kill anyone there, and hold that control as a foothold for the late round. That was the exact, I think it was probably the only decision that would have gotten them that round guaranteed, and it was perfect. It's a 10-7 bought off the back of a very close play, and they don't overcommit ults.
Yeah, on the other side as well, though, you've got Rez, Orbital Strike, Tour de Force. Like, these are all high-impact ults, and okay, you got the Showstopper on the other side, but I feel like the others are very, very situational. This is not going to be an easy round for Mech. It is one they desperately need. You look at the finances, and okay, there's a couple of players who can buy, but it's not a good spot.
Straight contact to the site, but they're cut off a little bit, delayed, and Trex goes down. Now the cavalry's coming, but Nats is already on the site, and he's done his job. 2 kills in this position, more than enough, especially without the ability. Oh, hold on. He's got some teammates to back him up. Shados already taken safe. They can't get to the site. Never mind plant the spike. They barely made it out of main.
Yeah, huge round. I mean,
Heaven. There was that game. I can't even remember which game it was, Tom. Remember, like every single round there was a nade kill up in heaven. The players just kept going to the same place. It was a lot of fun. But this time it looks like Mech going for some aggression. Not a huge fan against pistols, but it seems to be working out pretty well.
Okay. Yeah, Russ is at least going to take one. He's got his res. I'd be absolutely gobsmacked if he decided to use it. And he's already dead. Redgar stepping up to the plate. I think especially getting rounds like that for Mech is going to be really important. More so just the fact that they are keeping it clean, more so. Is they're not taking a lot of time, grinding out some of these rounds. It's just, okay, that one's done. Let's move on to the next one. Let's get into the meat of this round. And well, as said, we've seen ultimates being built up. You've still got Rolling Thunder, you got Orbital Strike, you got Res, you got the Showstopper not far away, and on the other side, it's already activated. But I'm almost waiting for Guild to just go for some sort of ult spam round and just try and blast their way through, because at this point, I think they need one just to get out of this losing streak.
Another early aggressive kill by Chronicle. He goes out with the Showstopper and even grabs another kill. Sure, he'll go down in the end, but Mech have the players rotating in to get here already. Orbital Strike, though, looking to be used. This could clear it out completely for them. I thought maybe that was going over towards the spawn, but they've gotten it for free. Baking out the plant here, trying to grab a little bit of a push out of them, and well, that plant's going to come through. They can TP back as well and look to fight main, but that's exactly what Mech are doing. They're looking to fight on into main. They've got a foothold for now. The Orbital Strike just covering their behind for a moment as Guild push forward. But now, Tom, look at this. They're kind of trapped on the site. These three players stuck on a couple of angles. The Rolling Thunder put out to, I mean, slow down the main play, but they need some kills. The time is not that far gone, I feel like.
Yeah, we're seeing the angles slowly being cleared out, being trapped within this site. Definitely not an easy place to fight from, and Leo, there's only so much he can do. Mech, it's weird. I feel like, if anything, Guild kind of did this to themselves. Like, I feel like you either want to fight for main and try and play for that after plant, or you need to reaggress somewhere else. Instead, they lock themselves into the site with their own utility, with their own Molotov, with their own Orbital Strike. And I feel like Mech were probably just sat there going, well, you've not wasted enough time for this to be a problem for us. We now have all the control.
Yeah, that was almost perfect. I think the utility that was used, if Mech had utility that allowed them to get in that position, they would have used it.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's the strange thing to look at. And we complimented Mech just the other round, right? Shados's ability to look at the players in dish and say, hey, we need to cut this split in half. We can't just sit here and wait for something to happen and try to react. We've got to play proactively. That was fantastic. And we saw the exact opposite from Guild this time around. Tracks down right away. And we're going to get a very convincing start to this round for Mech. The pistols, though, the Headhunter showing up for a couple.
Okay, well, they have to know that Safe is here, desperately trying to retrieve something, and he will get himself a rifle. Coldamenta's also got a Bulldog. It's not an awful scenario for them to try and fight from. Getting into an afterplant, though, that feels like it's going to be difficult, and I think that's why Safe is fighting, but hey, he's also winning these battles. He's guaranteed tour de force for the next round as well with the kills he's got, but there's a real chance for them to actually steal this round away. I
don't know if he knew there was a gap in that molly, but he certainly played like he did. Now you've got the 2v2. Safe plan for Coldamenta. Not going to go for the B main play, and makes me believe he's going to stay on this site. And so he is. Up and above he goes, trying to catch an angle. His cross is covered, potentially. I mean, Safe is currently watching the double doors for a peek, but he's opened them. They know now Max one on site. They're going to take that space a little bit more quickly, a little bit more chaotically. Coldamenta now in the 1v1. He knows Nats is blow, and he'll get him as well. 11 found on a thrifty for Guild. One step closer to securing this series, but so far, Mech have been hot on their heels.
What a round from Safe. I do have to say, I feel like some of that was overconfidence from Mech. Like peeking into very risky angles, fights that really weren't necessary. Like, especially, I think it was a 3v2, the sort of swing out towards rope. But Coldamenta does fantastically well at the end just to isolate these duels. And, well, now 11 to 10, money back, ult still there. And on the other side of things, yeah, the finances are going to be fantastic basically until it ends. Chronicle still. I thought maybe he'd opt to actually fade away. No, the whole team's looking to push.
Oh, yes, they are going aggressive, but Guild, they're catching at least a couple of these kills, and then Mech come through dominantly, leaving Trex in a 1v3, rifle in hand, knife in hand as he sprints into Chronicle. Finding the first Showstopper online, nade to play with, he's up top. That will have been heard. Whether Defo realizes he's gone up or not is another question. And Trex, of course, no idea where these players are. No Boombot to even cover his back as he makes his way forward. This all comes down to the timing, and Mech have a perfect play to work with. Once the initial contact is found, the swing comes through, and he should be able to trade. It looked like Trex was more than ready, but Shados gets the first bullet off, 11-11.
Way too close. And that's the thing. I feel like Zilv in that scenario has probably just had to observe his least favorite round in history because of two teams trying to pincer each other at the same time with ultimates and walls, and it wasn't fun for either side. But the fact is, I genuinely think that Mech just making plays like that is going to put Guild on the back foot. Like, you're going to have to be so prepared for plays that you can't predict, like a full push of the south side of the map. Not something you're going to see regularly. Now already, you're going to see that tour de force activated. Note that none of the ults on Guild's side were used, though. So there should be a point, Mitch, to get to a 12, just off everything they have here.
You would hope so. The way things have gone so far, though, Tom, I won't hold my breath. And that tour de force lurking around, trying to catch a kill. It seems to be the entirety of the early round plan for Guild is based off of this rifle getting a kill. And he's realizing there could be a player close. Good read by Safe. Able to reset so quickly, and, well, nobody's challenging the tour de force. But Safe, gone across, he's made it. Spray's not quite landing anybody. Two players spotted over there. Nade going through. Trex has got this player locked in. Redgar's gone. Good spray. It's dealing damage up above. Shados drops and gets eliminated immediately. Good flash. Good follow-up. And Spike secured. Defo might have a chance here. Ooh. Oh, that's risky. And, well, right into the tour de force he goes.
I think wanting to try and almost lock down the spike, it leaves Nats. Horrible scenario to try and fight back from. It seems like he knows what a shot on Trex, but he's not going to get anything more. 12-11. Guild's first ever chance to finish a series and get to Masters. Yes, the stakes are high.
This could be incredible for Guild. You know, I doubted this team a little bit coming in. I know you doubted them a lot, Tom. I mean, we don't want to talk about your predictions of who's making it out of this. But, you know, the thing for me, despite them being one game away, it was like their group was easier. Their games were fantastic. They have, like, statistically, if you look at the top 5, top 10 players, they have like 2 to 3 Guild players in pretty much every important stat. But the thing is, I didn't know if that was just because of the caliber of teams they were against. Right now, though, they're proving that they've got something. They are working on it month in, month out. The formula is finally being completed, at least potentially. They've come close and faltered at the last hurdle before. Now looking for that 13th round, they'll blitz into this B site. Showstopper burned up, and Defo's dealt with a very valuable opening kill, Tom, and we'll see if they can carry that forward now as the spike is planted. They've still got a res to play with, Orbital Strike and Rolling Thunder.
Spike planted.
Already, Russ is going to be cleared out. An important head taken out. They've got to break themselves the wall through already. We're going to see the Rolling Thunder utilized to try and get a little bit more aggressive. And Trex, he's just picked off 2 heads. This man wants to make his way to the Masters as now only Shados remains to try and close this out. It's done. Guild are going to be the first team to make it to Masters Copenhagen.